Did you meet Gary Hart?
Yeah, I did.
Oh.
So Gary is 82. He lives in Colorado and was generous enough, I really mean that, to invite me up there to stay with him and his family. And I'll tell you guys, because as actors, you'll appreciate this, when I went to meet him, and I'd done a lot of research before, everybody who's met him, knows him, worked with him, said he's hard to get a grip on. He's mercurial, he's enigmatic, he's hard to define, incredibly smart. So I arrived at Denver Airport and he was there curbside to pick me up.
Wow.
And I walked out and I shook hands with him. And I mean, his campaign people, 3 of them had rung me and said, now when you meet Gary, it was that kind of advice to that level. This is what, so I was a little nervous, right? Because I was like, why are they giving me such specific advice? You know, I met him and it was not like anything I thought. He shook my hand and his other hand he placed on my cheek.
Wow. And
for about 2 or 3 seconds, he just looked me in the eye and kind of to say, this is going to be okay. I know this is awkward. This is going to be okay. And I went back to his house. His wife had had hip surgery, so they were sleeping on the fold-out sofa downstairs. So I slept in his, he showed me to his bedroom. So I was sleeping in his bed. He cleared some space and I was putting my jacket up. You know, I'm in his closet. He was incredibly open and warm. But I was nervous, obviously, about playing someone who was going to see the movie. For those who don't know about The Frontrunner, it's really the 3 weeks of his campaign, which at the end of these 3 weeks, he left politics forever, right? So he went from being the guy who was going to be the next president, probably, to never, being in politics again. Wow. It's the worst 3 weeks of his life, surely. At least a week of it has to be the worst. So we're bringing up 30 years later a really, really difficult period. I'm glad we tell the story because I think it had, prior to this movie or the book, been reduced to a joke, a meme, and this man's service and everything down to this, monkey business, and didn't he ask him to follow him around, all this stuff. So I was glad that was getting out, but even with that, I knew it was going to be super painful. And I did ask him questions, but my main reason to visit him was I wanted to be able to look him in the eye and let him know that I respected him and his story, that I took it seriously. I couldn't promise I was going to be brilliant or anything like that, but I wanted him to know my intention, that I respected him.
Were you afraid about taking on that character?
I was afraid because the story itself, I knew to many people, I'm not just saying to Gary, but to Donna Rice, to the campaign team, is a painful part of their lives. I do think it's an important story to tell, but there's no way getting around it. This experience is going to be painful. So are we on the right side of that line of telling this story honestly, paying homage to everybody in the story, not just one character? And also personally, I'm sure you guys feel the same thing. I had a bunch of, can I pull this off kind of fear.
Right.
It's a very different type of character for me. So I, by nature, am very open-hearted. If you ask me a question, you probably won't be able to shut me up. And Gary's a very private person. So there were many aspects of it, enigmatic quality, sort of a little more closed off, that I was not 100% sure I could pull off. Thank God I had a great team. But yeah, so there was personal fears as well as just fears for the product itself. I went into acting because honestly I was more interested in trying to work out what's the meaning of life, what the hell am I doing here? I was 21. I wanted to understand things, and actually, if you're lucky enough to have your choice of projects, every film is asking some question that everyone involved in the film doesn't know the answer to. Storytelling is about simply trying to understand the world we live in and putting it in some mythological story form so that we can open our hearts rather than just hear, rather than just reading the newspaper. We can open our hearts to understand. Surely this is, in a way, the golden age in terms of the amount of work that is out there and quality work in different areas, film and TV, but not just a great time for actors because of the amount of good quality work, but I really think for women, for actors of color, it's a whole new world. From someone who's been in the business 20, 25 years, I can tell you from where I started and the conversations that were being happening, it's like it's all opened up, and I think it's amazing, and the storytelling's only going to get richer, more surprising, more vibrant. And if our goal is to understand the world and the humans in it, can we please see stories about everybody? You know? And I think that's why it's exciting as well.
I'm Mahershala Ali.
My name is Richard E. Grant.
I'm Chadwick Boseman.
Hi, I'm Timothy Chalamet, and you're watching The Hollywood Reporter.
The Hollywood Reporter Actor Roundtable.
Actors Roundtable.
Actor Roundtable.
On YouTube.
YouTube.